Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Love Story. I'm your host, Yandea, and joining me today is Jeremy, aka J Baby. How are you doing today, Jeremy? Thank you
I'm
so much
doing,
for joining us.
thank you for inviting me. I'm doing great.
That's so good to hear. So I'm just gonna check to see who's in our who's watching right now. I usually give a little bit of time because we're
Mhm.
right at 7:33 right now. So just give a little bit of time for people to come in before we get into your love story.
Yes.
So yeah, I just want to remind everyone that if you have a love story that you would like to share with us, you want to share it here on this platform, please get in touch with me at lovestory4yandea@gmail.com. And we will direct you from there as to how you can, join me on this platform and share your story. I'm so excited for you guys to hear Jeremy's story today. It's a really, I didn't get all the way to the end of the story. I actually said, no, no, no. I was like, pause, brother, pause, because you got to say this for everybody to hear. And I want to kind of experience it, with everybody else that's going to be watching it online. But from what I've heard thus far about the story, it's very sweet. I left myself like, on the edge. So I'm gonna ask you to share a little bit about your story. And we'll get into as much of it as you feel open to share about. I'll ask
Mhm.
you some questions just to dig a little bit deeper. And obviously, if you have questions for me, we can have time for that too. Um, but welcome everyone. Just let us know where you're from. If you have any questions for Jeremy during the podcast, please just put it in the chat. I'll be looking off to the side, Jeremy, sometimes just to check for questions. So I'm still paying close attention, just
Mhm.
multitasking, right?
Cool, cool.
Um, okay, so let's see. So let's get started.
All
So
right.
um, so first of all, how did we get in touch? How did we first get in
Hmm.
contact?
So how did I find you? So I was on YouTube. I tend to like take like a few times out my day, just kind of when I want to like just open my mind up, and I guess it's my form of meditating. And I look at like near death experience stories. And one of the ones I watched a lot, I ended up seeing you, and I was like, wow. And I listened to your story, I was like, man, and I listened to like two times, I'm not gonna lie. I
You
was like,
listened to it
man,
twice?
yeah. And so, and then from there, I was like, I want to see if I can, hear more about her and her stories. So from there, I went and found your information, and I followed and I got your YouTube. So I went and started watching some of your videos, and then I seen you said if you'd like to be on the podcast. I'm like, I mean, just try. I don't know what you gonna say. Yeah, because like, oh, I see all the comments. I don't know who will see who. So I was like, I wrote you. You responded back. You responded back. I was like, oh my goodness, you responded. Like, so I thought it was pretty cool. So you reached out to
Yeah.
me. Here we are.
Yes, 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 yes. And I always tell people, every single person, as long as you have breath in this body, as long as you still have your consciousness, you're aware, you're alive, you have something to share with others in this world that could be of aid to them.
Mhm.
We are not here alone, and we're here to actually assist and help each other. We're one. So it doesn't matter if you think there's not really anything special about my life. I bet you if you talk to me, you realize the glory in your life and you realize a lot to share that will be helpful. So, even if you're unsure of what you could possibly share, but you're open to sharing, just contact me and I'll help you see the light. Okay. In your own life. So, okay, so that being said, Jeremy, I will ask you this question. Well, first of all, you know what? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about who is Jeremy? Who is J Baby? How did this J Baby come along?
All right. Jeremy is who I am. That's my name my mom gave me. J Baby is my online, I guess, entertainer alter ego persona. I started that name really came about when I started modeling. And somebody was like, you should have like a nice stage name. And I was like, I don't know, you mean just my name. And this girl was like, "You like a J baby." I was like, "What?" So I was like, and when I was getting to make my social media, I was trying to think of a name because my name was taken. I was like, J baby, you know how it stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
And
very good.
so
Yeah.
and so once I began like be out modeling more and doing more getting more known,
Mm-hmm.
people didn't remember my real name, they remember my Instagram. So people started calling me J Baby, J Baby. And then
Mm-hmm.
when I started acting, people refer to me as that's J Baby, that's J Baby. So and then once I began to do the content creation, the skits, and I went viral so many times,
Yes.
everybody was like, "That's J Baby, that's J Baby." So now it's synonymous with me, and then I was like, "Well, let me just let me run with it because it's working for me." So.
Yes, yes. So what kind of skits? Like you said, some of your stuff went viral. So
Mm.
what was it that, what were you doing exactly? What were those skits about?
Well, some of my skits are some may see it as risque, some may see it as in as why would you do that? I just I like to look at anything and find the humor in everything. Um, if I made it through it, let me look back and laugh at it. And some of the situation, it's like real life dramatic skits of like real life events. So we just take it and make it look like it's real, but we add comedic inputs to it. So
Okay,
so
okay.
when you're watching it, you question like, I'm sorry, um, we had comedic inputs. Can you still see me?
Yeah, I'm seeing
Okay.
you.
So we
Mhm.
add like comedic inputs into like into what we do, and then just like that. So it's been working and it's going pretty well. I know one of my skits I did on YouTube got like 4.6 million views.
Wow.
On TikTok I got like a couple of them I know got like one to over a million views. I just did a few. I just seen one the other day. My friend called me like, "We went viral again." So I was like, "Oh, shit." So
Oh, this is
and so I get to play a lot of different characters, and so it now stems from my passion with acting. So I wanted to start creating on my own, and
yeah.
that's how I got to where I'm at now.
I love that. I love that. So I'm gonna definitely have to check out. So I wish I had if I had known, I would have probably get a little clip and I could have inserted
I'm glad you did because you might before you talk to me, you probably prejudge me. Like I don't
No,
know.
no, listen, you'd be surprised. I watch all different types of stuff. I know how to find the humor and stuff and to laugh at life and to make light of things sometimes that are very serious. I laugh at my own life. I laugh at some very tragic and serious things that I've been through. I think that's important for us to learn how to find humor, in things and how to laugh at ourselves, sometimes that's very important. Because I feel sometimes people are just too serious. We're just taking life. I mean, life is serious, but sometimes you could take it a little too serious. And we need to just remember that. I mean, obviously, some people aren't going to know this, but like for me, as serious as I may be about life right now, I also know that it's just like, this life is one life and then there's another life. So it doesn't mean that you don't try your best in this life, but you certainly should laugh a bit more. You get what I'm saying? Knowing that it's really not that serious. You know what I'm saying? It's serious,
Yeah.
but it's really not
Hmm.
that serious. If you could find a way to laugh, literally like laugh at your pain.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go through some really tough things and I'm like, I just look up. I just look up and I'm like, that's not even funny though. Like I know y'all. I know y'all forget what it's like up in this human experience.
Hmm.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
So it's like it's difficult sometimes when you have the knowledge of both realities. You,
Hmm.
I understand that when we are confined by this limited mind and experience, and we have our emotions and we're bombarded by the things we are so sure that we're feeling, it's difficult sometimes to remember that we actually exist also outside of these bodies and we are limitless.
Hmm.
And this is just uh one thing that we're experiencing because our consciousness is concentrated here
Hmm.
right now for this moment, right? So yeah, laugh at yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you found a way to laugh and to help other
Appreciate it.
people laugh. Yeah, that's great. That's a good thing. So
Appreciate it.
okay, so we can follow. You mentioned that you had a YouTube some of your YouTube stuff went viral and you have some skits on there. So you can
Mhm.
share with us. I'll ask you to share now, actually, and then you could also, I'll put it in the description. So how do people follow you on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok? Like, what's your handle?
Okay. So my YouTube is Jbaby Creations. That's Jbaby Creations. On Instagram is Jbaby_29, Jbaby_29. On Facebook is Jeremy Jbaby Brown. So and also on TikTok is I think it's Jbaby29. So I just try to keep it Jbaby all across all platforms.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And on YouTube it's Jbaby Creations, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And I'll have that. I'll put that in the description so that people can find you.
Mhm.
And yes, if you sit here and you listen and you are enjoying this experience, if you haven't already subscribed to Love Story, please do to the channel, and also follow Jbaby, follow, subscribe, check out his content, give him some feedback if you think he's laughing too much or not laughing enough, give him some feedback. I'm sure he'd be open to it and appreciate it, right? Okay, so let's get into your story. I
Mhm.
always ask people at some point, in the podcast, I'll ask this question, and I'll ask it to you now. I'll start off with this question. Um, have you ever experienced a dark time that love has rescued you out of? And love is however you want to see love. I'm not saying it has to be romantic love or this love or that love. However, love has shown up in your life. Has love ever rescued you out of a dark time? And can you share that with us?
Yes, I would love to. Love has shown up in ways that I wasn't even aware it could show up in my life. And when it did show up in this way, the story I'm going to share that it showed up for me, it changed my whole life and for the better. It helped me to accept what happened and what I've been through, how to understand and how to let go. It was like the big hug that you needed, like, and it just made everything make so much more sense to you. And it took me going through a really really dark time in my life to come out on that side and see the light.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this story really revolves around me losing my dad. I know how it sounds, me losing your father. You find this all peace and love, but yes, it was I love my father, but it was through losing my dad. So prior to him passing, maybe like about, I say maybe a month or so before he passed, I began to have these feelings in myself, like in my inner being, that it felt natural, but it felt unnatural. No, so it's like because I wasn't used to feeling these type of ways. So, and the feeling I had, it was annoying of, you're about to go through something
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna need someone. And but prior to this, I had just lost my grandmother 9 months prior. And I
Wow.
had just worked through that, and I was like, nah, and I was like, okay, I'm in a good place. I'm accepting. I'm smiling again. I'm good. I'm gonna be good right now. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I started feeling that feeling. I felt it 3 times in my core. It felt like you're about to go through something really heavy, and you're gonna but you're gonna need. And now the need part, I never got the full answer, because I didn't, maybe because I didn't know, I didn't want to tell me, or I had to just no, I had to just go with the flow. So of course, when I felt those feelings, I'm like, who is this? How I know this? Who's talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I seeing this? Am I on drugs? I'm all these questions I'm asking. I'm like, I know I'm not. I don't do drugs. So why am I experiencing stuff like, from what I heard, people do drugs to experience this type of thing. And so when I'm driving,
What was the experience like? Like, tell us a little bit about like more of what you're experiencing.
so the first experience that I remember having, I was at work, and I was talking to my friend. I was telling a joke, was laughing, and she turned her back for a second, and all of a sudden I just felt something kind of like just go down, and I just kind of, I dropped my head. I was like, it's like my whole energy. It's like a new feeling came inside me, and just like, here, you feel this right quick, bam, okay. You remember this? Remember this now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this now? And this is gonna be you. I'm like, me? Who are you talking to? I just went through something like, so
Yeah.
this cannot be happening. So an experience. And so I began to question myself, and then like I didn't have anyone I could really talk to at the time. I told my friend, she's like, because she saw my face, she said, "Hey Jay, what's wrong? What's going on? You okay?" And
Mm.
I said, I don't know. You might think I'm crazy, sis, but like, I just feel like I'm finna go through something, and I'm
Oh,
gonna need someone. I'm gonna need something. I didn't know if it was a person. I didn't know what. I just know I'm gonna
yeah.
go through something. And she's like, "Wait, what happened?" I'm like, I like no one's sick that I know of. I don't know. So of course I shrugged it off. And then another time I was at the gym. I'm on the treadmill, I'm running. Right here. Usually at the gym, you won't have time to think about anything. You're trying to catch your breath. So I'm running, breathing, and all of a sudden I began to hear like it was a song I heard in my mind, and I hadn't heard this song on the radio when I was a kid. That's the only time I had heard it. It was a song by Smokey North, like "I Need You Now." I'm like, and then
Oh, yes, yes,
mhm.
that one.
And I heard it. I don't know how, but I just heard it inside me. It was like I heard the words in my inner being, and I'm like, come listen, come on, I'm on the treadmill. I'm listening to Tupac. So I'm like, how can I hear this? I'm hearing this.
That's like extreme.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
like, so I'm talking to myself. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, and I started talking to myself. You're gonna be all right. You good? Just come on. You just
Oh,
tired or something. Just come on. You're gonna work through this. So of course I shrug it off.
yeah.
So the day before my dad passed, I was cleaning up my place, and I heard the song again in my head. I'm like, why is this song in my head? I like, I'm just gonna play it. So I went to go play the song, and all of a sudden I was getting a cry. I'm like, I'm
Oh,
standing here. I'm like, I'm a big guy, I'm like, why am I crying? What's wrong? And I had that feeling like you about to go through. So I'm like,
oh
I don't
man.
know what you've been doing, boy, but you better stop because you tripping over here. You know what I'm saying? So that
Yeah.
was so I'm trying to rationalize it to
Yes.
because I had no one that I could go talk to about this.
Yeah.
They probably gonna just call for down here in Georgia 411, and they're gonna come
Mhm.
put their jacket on me, make me hug myself.
Straight jacket.
So yeah, so I'm like, I don't know, I can't. I'm feeling these feelings, but maybe
Hmm.
let me just ignore it. So
Yes, yes.
so that
And
same
this was the day before your dad passed?
yeah, and that same day when I was leaving work, I just seen my dad and like in the obituary. It was like a remembrance picture. I'm like, and at that time I was like, why am I seeing a picture of my dad in my head while I'm driving?
Mm.
And why I keep feeling and the feeling I had like you're about some with your dad is about to end.
Mm-mm.
And I was thinking like, is my dad finna take me off his car insurance? Like, I'm saving some money right now. So so I was like, let me call my dad. Let me just check on him. So
Yeah.
I talked to him. I joked with him, said stuff. He was
Mhm.
cool. And he had, as far as I know, he wasn't sick. Wasn't
Mhm.
anything going on. And the next day I came to work, that I don't know why, but the day just felt like if I if I felt detached from the world, if that makes sense. I felt like I'm here, but I'm not here. It's like I can hear everything, but it's kind of like,
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
hearing more static in the world than,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and I'm just like, maybe I'm tired. I don't know. I've been going to the gym a lot lately, and
Mm-hmm.
and so my brother called me. I was at work. They had been trying to call me all day, but I work in the warehouse, so my phone wasn't working.
Yeah.
So around 2 o'clock, they had finally got to me. And my brother had called me, and he just, yeah, I know he meant well, and I had, and in retrospect, I didn't. I mean, I don't. I'm pretty sure I don't know the best way to give someone that type of news. He
Yeah.
didn't say sit down. He just said, "Hey, bro, your dad just died."
Oh no.
He called my
Hey,
dad.
bro.
Yeah, he
That's
called my.
it.
Yeah, he called my dad by name. He said, "Hey, Ray just died," and coincidentally, his dad has the same name. I'm like, so of course I'm like he would.
It's his dad.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
why would he call me and say his dad died? Like that's they. I joke about a lot of stuff, but we don't joke like that. And so, am I being? But when he said it, I knew automatically what it was. I knew, and I was like, man, okay, now what am I? I just said, okay, okay. No, I told him I call you back, and so I'm trying to figure out what's going on, like. And I don't know what to do. I just started running. I don't know where I was going, but I was like, let me just run. I don't know. Maybe I just felt like I thought like, well, if I get tired, I can't breathe. I can't think about this.
Oh man.
But I didn't have far to run, unfortunately. So I ended up coming out. The police had stopped me. Some person saw me running. They thought was still not stealing from cars or something. And so when she stopped me, I guess my second nature. had found it gave me a scapegoat. So I was like, what they talking to me about? I know it don't make sense, but I immediately got angry, and I was like, who is that? Where is that? I'll go beat. Now I'll go fight him. No, because I just wanted to get my focus off what was
What
happening.
you were just told, yeah.
Yeah, but she looked at my face and she could see.
You're crying.
Yeah, she could see I was crying. I was hurt, and then she asked, "Are you okay?" And I looked at her and I'm trying to just I got my fist ball. I'm like I'm
Oh,
trying to stay in this anger. I'm trying to stay in this anger, but it let loose. I fell to the ground. And I'm like I just lost my dad and I bust out crying. And
oh,
I appreciate it because instead of like her being making the situation worse, coming antagonize me, she said, you know what, I lost my father recently. And I understand you need to handle this. So I'm gonna go back and you do it. Are you good? You need to ride home like you to handle this. And I
mhm.
just no, I just quit talking, of course. So I started my car and my brother called me, you want to make sure I'm okay. I don't know. I thought I was okay, but then I tried to drive home. I ended up driving home when I should have drove, but I don't know. I just want to keep moving because I'm trying to this
Oh,
reality is happening. I'm like, and you can't like I'm trying to run from it like this, but like it's like it's here, sir. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I'm trying to escape that, and I get to the house, and my stepmom called me, and she gave me more details about what happened. And of course, when you hear news that you don't want to hear, you try to dissect it, make sense of it. Like, hello, this if this happened, that happened, why that happened, and then
Yeah.
and even still, none of those things even matter. And I guess in my mind, I was hoping like if I can figure something out, I can reset and he'll pop back up,
Oh
and
gosh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you
I get it.
and we know that's not true. That's not what
Yeah.
it is. But so I was just trying to understand that, and so during that time, no, I went through a lot because I had just kind of got but close to my father. We had a relationship, and that I was happy. I'm like, yo, it went from that's my father, this is just my dad, to like, yo, I got a daddy, man. Like that's my
Oh,
pops,
jeez. Yeah.
and I didn't know how much that meant to me until I started experiencing having that. And then, the hair cut off. I'm still young. I didn't have no kids yet. He was just asking me like, so when you gonna give me some grandkids from you?" I'm like, I said, "Dad, give me 2 more years." Not knowing he didn't have 2 more years. I was like, "Give me 2 more years, and I got you." Because I had wanted to work on my career. Get somewhere. But so I went through all these like the sadness, doubts. Like I'll never get to experience having my dad see me with a child. I
Oh,
didn't have a grandfather, so my kids won't have a
you
grandfather.
have a
All
grandfather.
these defeating thoughts and just bringing myself down.
Mhm.
And it was horrible. So I just kind of stayed in the house. My mom called me, but she had just lost her mom, which was my grandmother prior month, nine
Yes,
months
yes,
ago.
yes.
So she's trying to talk to me while she don't even leave half stuff. She's saying to me, and she's trying to cope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know this, but I'm like, I'm trying to deal with, I'm trying to take in this reality still, and like, and just like, this can't be right. What's no chance? I'm doing everything to fight against it. And then a part of me, so as like, is it remind me like, you remember this, right? You remember, you knew it was coming.
You remember we
You knew it,
prepared you for this.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I did not. I was like, no, 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 it's not. So I'm denying it. And so I'm and so in the midst of that love story, a person came back into my life who I really I had strong love for. And so when she came back into my life after my dad passed, it held me up for a while. I didn't know, but it held me up because I don't know where I would have been. I doing that those deep diving moments. Of course I
Mhm.
hated myself. I wanted to die. I didn't want to be here. I questioned living. And
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we even born just to die? Like, what's the whole point? You sent us
Yeah.
down here to just be, all those questions, man. So I was just down. Then when she came back into my life, she was the one person in the world that I know my love for her is unconditional, will never stop. And when she came back in, she just came back at the right time. And going, during the time with her, she helped me up, but then it got to a point where like she knew I wasn't growing. I wasn't grieving. I wasn't getting over this right. And in
Mhm.
her own way, she was trying to convey it to me while she was dealing with her own stuff, but she was trying to be there for me. But at the time, I just took it as you're trying to leave me like my father is. So this is how I understand it because I'm hurt.
Yeah.
And so she eventually just she couldn't take it because her I guess with the weight of her own, problems that she was dealing with in life, and her losing someone close to her. So, and it just got to the point where she left me. Now we back talking now, of course. I can say that. Because we just happened to we end up having to both go to a time where we both end up growing. Like, now our conversation is like so different, and I do love
Level.
it. I love it, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but during that time after she left me, I remember I was just sitting there. I ended up going out. I ended up the day before I went out, I ended up seeing this clip on YouTube. And I had never seen this. As much as I'd be on YouTube, I had never ever seen this guy. I had never heard of this guy. Because when I say his name, people know him. But he was new to me. I had never heard the guy, but apparently he had lived and died. I'm like, and he was new to me. He was brand new to me. So the guy I heard was named Reverend Ike. And the clip came across, and I was just laying in bed, just kind of just still going through my downing and stuff. And his came by the screen. And what he said it with so much passion and
Sure.
love,
Yeah.
and like he even at the time I didn't receive it all the way. He said the most important thing in the world is what you believe about yourself. And when he said that, I'm like, nigga, please, no. I mean, I'm sorry, can I say that?
You could say it, yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. Oh no, no, God, please. What you just talking about? And so for some reason, when I heard him say it, I went away. And I was like, let me go back and hear it again. Let me hear it one more time. Let me hear what he's talking about. So the more I heard him say it, I could hear myself saying to myself, I'm like, it does feel good to feel good about myself. I'm like, maybe it could be on to something because I did it. I said it to myself, and I actually feel myself feeling a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So, once I got off that, my brother called me. He wanted to get me out of the house fire because I had been just coming, just sitting in the dark. I was off work. I was just stuck in darkness, and
Yeah.
literal darkness. No,
Literally, no lights
yeah,
on.
no. My light bill was like $5. So so that was a good part of
That
it.
was a positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So during that time, man, he ended up taking me to this thing called ATL Bonfire. And I went there, and it was just a good time. I tried a few things, so food wise stuff,
Mhm.
and it was actually had a good time, with my brother. Because and during that time, I could see how much it hurt my brother to see me hurt, and
Yeah.
I was like, then I felt bad that I'm making him feel bad for feeling bad for me. I'm like, I was
Yeah.
like, man, and so in that moment, I was like, let me just not think about sad and stuff. Let me just enjoy this time with my brother because
That's
it's
perfect.
mhm. So we had a great night. He's about drunk, so I'm driving, so I had to driving him back home. And so once I got him back home, I came home and I came upstairs and I sat on the couch, and then as soon as I sat down, all those feelings came back. Those feelings of doubt, worries, and it's like it was this time. It seemed like, oh, you thought you could run, huh? You forgot about it. And then so I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking, I'm feeling these thoughts in my head, and I hear this voice say, "Why are you surprised?" And so I'm sitting, I'm like, I know I ain't just hear that, but what do you mean? Why am I surprised? I'm not surprised. What are you talking about? So
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I'm just talking to myself. I'm just throwing thoughts out there. Maybe it's just got to be me. And so I'm going through the thoughts, like, rethinking about how he died, what the experience we're going through, and he asked me again, "Why are you so surprised about death?"
Mhm.
I'm like, N word. What are you talking about? Who is this? What kind of question is this? My dad just died. What you mean? Why am I surprised about that? And then I'm like, then so I'm back, like, whatever. I don't know who that is, but call back later. No, but so I'm sitting there thinking, going to sit, because trying to go back to that sadness. And it said, hey, why are you so surprised about that? That time it felt louder to me. I'm like, okay, you trying to get my attention. I'm sad because, and as
Yeah.
soon as I said I'm sad because, I start remembering my grandmother passed. I had friends that died. I know people who had family members that died.
Mhm.
Look through history. People before me
Oh
died,
my God.
came before I lived and died. I'm like, so
Why are you
in that,
surprised?
yeah, why?
Yeah.
It asked me. I was like, well, I don't know why I'm surprised. And you're right. Why am I surprised? Because I know these things happen.
Mhm.
And why are you so surprised? Why are you questioning something that you know is part of the whole thing?
Yeah.
And in that moment, my fear of death immediately dropped because it didn't make sense to me anymore. I'm like,
Yes.
wow, that is amazing. And then so I began to like explore that. I'm like, okay, so what are you saying? And then it asked me this question. I like to ask people a lot, if I could do a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
Um, it was like when you what do you what's your earliest memory? Do you remember not existing? Do you remember just when you just came online? And then I thought about it. I was like, I honestly don't have no recollection of never not existing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I said that, it made sense in my head. I'm like, we maybe this ain't the end. And
Yeah.
so I thought I was like, okay, if uh, if the majority of the time I'm non-physical. So if you're dead after you live, where are you before you're born? So
Yes.
I began to ask these questions to myself, and like the person was talking to me again. It sounds like me, but it doesn't sound like me. I'm like, so I'm asking these questions. I'm like, so if before you're born you're not dead, what would you call it? And then after you're born, I was like, hold on, you're this, so you're not born but more than you die. This part living is the only temporary part. I'm
Yeah.
like, what's going on? Like, it's just starting to make sense to me in a different
Yeah.
way. I'm like, wow, so I'm dropping all these fears and all these things. I'm getting a question.
So
And
beautiful.
in that moment, when I let go all that fear of death and all those questions can't answer, I heard my dad's voice speak to me.
Mm.
And I knew his voice because it was different from the voice I was hearing, and it sounded
Yeah.
like him. But the
Yeah.
way he sounded, it sounded compassionate and assertive, kind of assertive. And it was like, I'm okay, son. You're gonna be all right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the last word, but I knew it's like if you know your car is black and
Yes.
someone say your car is not, why are you lying? Your car is blue, but you seen your car. They
Yeah.
can't tell you what color the car because they haven't
Exactly.
seen it.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
it's like when you know,
Mm-hmm.
no one can tell you what you know is not true because
Exactly.
you experienced it.
Exactly.
And I know for a fact I heard his voice. It was
Yes.
just me that I heard it, and then
Yeah.
I just felt so happy. I was like, wow, no, this I can still talk to you. I was like, oh my god! I like then I'm getting like, hold on, you don't watch me while I be doing doing the grown folk stuff. Like, hold on, man, look, this is cool, but how weird does it get? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so in that moment, man, like I let go so much fear, and I started and then I heard Reverend Ike come back to me. The most important thing in the world is what you believe about yourself.
Yes.
And when I felt happy, I remember how good it felt to feel that way. I was like,
Feel happy.
I love my father, and I know for a fact it would tear him up to know I'm still here
Yes.
mourning over him because he's not here. And obviously, if he talking to me, he ain't in no pain. So
He's
so I'm
good.
like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, I gotta work. I gotta work on this. So I began to tell myself like, I'm going to get better. You're going to get better.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know how, but if I keep saying it, I'll believe in myself. I'll make it happen.
Yes.
And during that time, the girl who had came back in my life after she left, I was I was I was equating her leaving to like I'm worthless. Since my
Mm-hmm.
dad left me, it
Yeah.
was part of my life. Everything leaves me. Everything I love
Yes.
just leaves.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but I have such a strong love for her
Mm-hmm.
that when I thought about that love, it's something that I heard that voice inside me. Well, how do you feel about yourself?
Yes.
And I was like, and it's like I was having a conversation with myself. It's like if you love her that much and you feel the strong about her, you feel that way about yourself. That is the
Mm-hmm.
key. I mean, just maybe. I was like, who? What are you? How you making all these? First of all, dang, he just made a point. I was like, how do I feel about myself?
Yeah.
And
I
in
love
that moment, yeah, and in that moment, I began to kind of evaluate myself and figure out, do I hate myself? Do I really believe that I don't deserve love? Do I think I'm that horrible of a person to where like
it.
I
Mm-hmm.
just don't deserve it? And I was like, people seem to like me, gravitate. I can't be
Yeah.
that bad. I
Yeah.
I tend to make people smile. So also I began to let it go. And then I started finding this love in myself, man. And like, oh my God, like when I began to feel this love, this self-love
Yeah.
about how I felt, I'm like, it's so it's so like it's so opening, like because sometimes like it's hard to find the words to convey it because you want to find the right words, but you don't. But a lot of words just don't equate to it,
Yes.
and I feel like I'm on cloud nine. Like I don't know if anyone ever tried, Mary Jane. All right, but I feel like I'm on a constant high like that.
High, constant high. Yeah.
And I'm happy, I'm excited, and I'm flowing.
Yeah.
And so that love story that saved me was me finding love within myself.
Brother, that you see, like, I know I see the chat. We have some, let me tell you what's
Oh, they
happening.
talking. Oh, shoot. Okay.
The chat has let's see. Okay, well, first of all, hi Dwayne, hi Sylvia, and Sister Patty. So we have, it looks like 3 people are chatting. There's other people watching. If you're watching, listen, I know you probably don't ever put anything in the chat, but if you're watching and you've heard what Jeremy, aka Jbaby, has just shared, and any little part of it, okay, has been, something beneficial for you, I want you to just put something in the chat just to let him know that you're here and you're watching and you're like, you appreciate what he has just shared. Okay, so we have Dwayne is saying, oh man, brother, I feel you, man.
I appreciate you.
Yes, and then he has some crying faces happening here. And he says, oops, such an amazing and powerful story.
Thank you.
Yes. Amazing, amazing. And I know that Dwayne has actually been on Love Story before. He's a
Oh
laughter.
wow.
There's all the right vibration. And his I think on that story he did share that he lost his dad also
Mhm.
when he was younger, and like the impact that had on him, to the extent that he actually wrote a book.
Oh
And
wow.
well, his book is a collection of like his poetry, and it's all from his dad was a photographer, so he took a bunch of photography and he has like some poems in there. But I'm so happy that he's on in the live today to hear you share your story. And definitely I'll connect you guys
Yes,
because
that'd be
you guys
awesome.
have the same, yeah, wonderful energy. I know he'll appreciate that connection, and so will you. But okay, so many things. I was supposed to take notes and I did not. That rarely happens to me. I was supposed to at least jot down some things. Oh my gosh, but I was just so in it with you, which is great, which is great. So, okay, if I could bring, Dwayne says, me too. So, if I could go back, there's something you said, okay, when you went out with your brother,
Mhm.
you had that moment of, you know what? I look at my brother, and it's because you were present. And I always
Mhm.
tell, if you remember in the NDE that you watched me, I probably
Mhm.
shared about, love is being present, right?
Mhm.
Being present. And in that moment where your brother came for you and he went the extent of trying to get you out, and you're there by the fire, and was it a bonfire you said, right?
Yeah.
And then you realize my brother is sad. Like my sadness is taking a toll on him. You kind of realize that because you had to be present. You could
Mhm.
be so self-absorbed that you are unaware of anybody else's emotions. So the moment you became aware of his emotions, and that his emotions of sadness were because of how he was experiencing you being sad out of his own
Mhm.
love for you, you had love within yourself, recognizing that love being present to make you want to overcome your sadness,
Yeah.
just so that he couldn't be sad anymore. And you decided, I'm going to be here with him. We are here at this bonfire. He went out of his way to bring me out, whatever the case is. I'm going to be present with my brother, because
Mhm.
guess what? Daddy's moved on and your brother is here.
Yeah.
So he's what you have. He's showing you love, and you made a conscious decision to see him and to bring all of your consciousness into your body and to be in that present moment with him.
Yeah.
And that is the power of love.
Yeah, that's
Is
pretty
that
awesome the way you break it down like that.
Oh
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
listen, brother, I know, I know what I'm saying, you know. So that in right there was your power.
Right.
Right there, you were able to, okay, you brought all your energy in to your body, you brought all your consciousness into your body because of love for your brother.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Do you
And
see
like,
what I'm saying? Like that
hmm
is that, and it's not just love for your brother, but it's that you weren't able to see the love that you should have for yourself. But in that moment, your brother was being a reflection to you.
yes,
Looked at
yes.
him and he was able, his sadness over seeing you being sad was able to help you see what you were looking like through his eyes. And it was so sad
Yes.
that you didn't want to be sad anymore because you weren't able to see yourself until you saw your reflection in him.
Yes, true. Yes, that's true. Yes. We are reflections of each other.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So it was like you actually decided to be better out of love for your brother, but it had
Mhm.
to have been out of love for yourself. You
Yes.
just weren't at that place where you could have felt worthy enough to like love yourself,
Mhm.
but you could do it by trying to love your brother through what you're
Yes.
seeing of yourself in him. But again, it's the power of being present, you know? It's the power of being present. So I saw that in what you shared. And then when you were talking about when you were talking about hearing the voice, right? Coming
Yeah.
hearing the voice. You know, some people think like, we be crazy talking about hearing voices and all that.
Yeah.
But it's really the thing about it is I've shared and you'll see in other videos about the higher self. And I love when you said it sounded like me, but it wasn't me
Mhm.
because higher self is just you, but just so much wiser that you can't really identify it as yourself because you're like, I know I'm not that smart. I know I'm
Yeah.
not that smart. Like, who is it? You sound like me, but I'm not that smart.
hmm
So, it's wonderful the way that I think you said you said the N-word. Like, right? And the thing about it is like that's the realest thing because a lot of people get hung up on what name do you call God? What this, what that? And it's like what they don't realize is like in that when you're actually having a real encounter, you're real.
Yeah.
You're real. I've had times where I'm like, I chops, we call it kiss teeth or whatever. I've
Mhm.
had times where I'm like really having that conversation with Most High, and I'm just like, nah, man, straight like that. I'm talking. I don't have, I rarely do a thing where when I'm communing with Most High or higher self, however you want to look at it,
Mhm.
with the higher power, there is rarely a time where I do this whole type of a thing. Like I may say, I may just go like, if it depends, right? If I want to, if I'm looking for a certain guidance, like, the way you'd go to like your grandma or whatever, sometimes I may approach, that level of consciousness like that. You know what I'm saying? But then there's the majority of the time, it's really just I don't know, like a bestie.
Yeah, yeah.
Really like a
It
bestie. You know
it
what I'm
it
saying?
it really is. I
Yeah.
can I can say that it really is because it's been times like when I'm about to do something, I'm like, hey, I'll kind of be talking to myself, and I'm like, I'm finna do something like really crazy, and I hear something like, no, like and it's like I can feel it. I'm like, I'm just joking, guy. Come on,
Yeah,
it
yes.
is.
And this is the thing I feel that's so sad. It's like when people they have like an idea of what and this is so important to come up because a lot of people, like I discussed, some comments and stuff under videos, people have an idea of what love is. And there's that scripture that says God is love.
Mhm.
And what people do is they say love is God, is really what they're thinking. They say
Mhm.
God is love, but then what they're thinking is love is God, in the sense of this is what I think love is, and so God has to fit into this. You see the difference?
Mhm.
It's like this is what I've learned love is. And whoever God is, God has to fit into this box of what I think love is, as opposed to this is what God has shown me God is.
Mm-hmm.
If God is, then and only then I could start knowing what love is. So when we talk about, just being able to just talk, like I'm playing, like just regular lingo, like I say, like sometimes I'm just like, that's not nice. Like, that's not nice. That's mean. I'm like, nah, man, you can't be just doing that to me. I speak just like this,
Yeah.
just like this. I'm like, you can't. Sometimes clients come to me and they have a whole bunch of stuff going on. I'm like, really? This is what you're doing right now? This is really what you're gonna do? You see, I have these things happen in my life. This is what you're sending me? This is what you're
Yes,
sending
yes,
me to work with here? Like, stress much? You know what I'm saying?
yes.
And then we just laugh, right? Like, I literally, and I'm like, I would hear it like, I never give you more than you can bear. like, I'm like, I think you made me too damn strong. you know, but really straight like that. But
Mm.
some people will say, that's not right. You can't be talking to God like that. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, that's because you have an idea
Mm-hmm.
of what, and you're trying to fit God into your idea. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think it's very, very important for people to realize, like, maybe the reason why you're not growing spiritually is because you have put God and spiritual experience into the
Mm-hmm.
box of being like,
Mm-hmm.
this is what holy looks like. This
Mm-hmm.
is what, you get what I'm saying? Like, this
Yeah.
is what righteous looks like. Guess what righteous is? Righteousness is to be in right standing with Most High, which means to be in alignment with Most High. So if you're in alignment with Most High, that's what makes you righteous. To be in right standing.
Mm-hmm.
Righteousness literally is right standing with God, you know? So and usually that means that you're walking in obedience, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that means you have to be able to hear that voice,
Yes.
that to have that communion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's so wonderful, and I love that you were able to reconnect, obviously, with this friend of yours that was
Mm-hmm.
there, throughout that time. And I think that it's beautiful that you continue with that communication,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're able to hear your father's voice. Some people, when I tell them, like, no, when you're in the flow and you're communing with spirit, um and you're in that place of love, anything is possible, because love is what has created everything.
Yes,
So,
yes.
love is what has created. So if you're in that high vibration, your father is made of love. Wherever your father is also
Mm-hmm.
made of love.
Yes.
So if you're in the flow of love, it's like you're able to access, and anything that is aware and conscious in that flow is able to access anything else that's in that alignment, in that same vibration. So your father is in the place where he knows what this life is, and whereas we may be here, the majority of us, and be unaware, how do I escape the matrix, blah 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 blah. Your
Yeah.
dad is on the other side, like, knowing it all, and
Yeah.
even being able to see you. And a lot of people, I remember in one of my in like a lot of the things I say, it's not because, like, well, I haven't read the majority of things that I believe in. I've never read it anywhere, but I don't mind that, you know what I mean? But I remember in one of my past life regressions, I like to call them
Oh
progressions.
wow, that's awesome.
My Yeah, in one of them, I remember experiencing a life where I wasn't on Earth, and I was just above the Earth, but there were other people with me, and I was able to literally look into the Earth realm, and I had a few people that I was guiding, okay? And telepathically, I wasn't allowed to tell them what to do and what not to do. I was just reminding them of what it was that they came to do. So just
Mhm.
lightly. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, remember you're supposed to do that. Is that, are you sure that's what you want to do? Like, cannot interfere if they even change their mind. Okay.
Mm,
So there's a whole bunch about that. And who those people were, actually real people here. And and this is the confirmation, which I love what God does.
mm,
Those two people had past life regressions also. And when I had my regression was before they had theirs, and I never told them what I experienced. When they had their regression, they said they both experienced being on Earth before, and I was their guardian angel. What are the chances of
wow, that is
me having
dope,
a
yeah.
past life, remembering being, and that's just the word they used, right? The
Mhm.
guardian angel. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that was settling it for me, because that was at a time where Most High was helping me. I kept hearing this whole, I'm bigger than 66 books. I'm bigger than this, right? And
Mm,
and so I had to be able to, this is the box we talk about. I had to be able to do a very scary thing, which is to believe that God was bigger than a book.
yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I definitely
That God was, I think there's even a place, I maybe it's in the Gospel of John, I think, that says if all of the things that Yeshua did were to be written down, there's not enough books to
do.
contain all of what, you know what I'm saying? So it's like when Spirit was saying that to me, I'm bigger than 66 books, a lot of my reality of what I thought was just
Mhm.
crumbling, crumbling away. And that was one of the things that Spirit was showing me, like, you live here, but then depending, not every soul is in the same, we have, some of us have had more lives than others and whatever the case is. But I know that there are a lot of people, when they leave this realm, they still are helping without interfering. They're
Mhm.
still helping. They're still, I can't tell you that every single loved one is out there assisting you, but I know that I could speak for myself, that
Mhm.
experience doing that. And then Most High gave me the confirmation that when those people did their regression, they experienced me being that to them. And since then, I've had so many other people that I've had these amazing connections with. And when we've done past life regressions, we've seen our connection. So your dad, the fact that you were getting the feelings to prepare you of his departure, hear what I'm saying to you. The
Mhm.
fact that you were getting all of those feelings, and you're getting the image of him before he passed away, and all of these things, it's because you guys have an extremely strong connection. And he knew that this was going to be take a toll on you. So you got the prep beforehand.
Yeah. That's
You understand
sad.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because if
Mhm.
you never had any of that, that thing would have hit you like a ton of, I mean, it already did hit you like a ton of,
Yeah.
would have been so much worse. And so love is what caused for that little divine, intervention to happen, to prep you for it. And then while you're going through your dark night, then here you are experiencing hearing his voice and being able
Mhm.
to hear, you know what I mean, Most High or higher self, however you want to put it. And all of that is part of it, right? All of
Right.
that is part of it. So I think it's amazing. I keep telling people, like, love does not end. Love is love.
Mhm.
It does not end. We change clothes. This is what it is. You leave this life, you're changing clothes, like you change clothes from one day to the next day.
Mhm.
And there's that scripture that says, well, a thousand years is like a day is like 1,000 years with God. So just imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just imagine, it really is, you're changing, it's,
Mhm.
it's one day to the next day, right? That's,
Yeah.
you're like, you die at 70, you didn't even complete a day yet. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
like changing clothes at noontime,
Mhm.
you know
Mhm.
yeah, so I
I,
love everything you shared.
I often I ask people a question as lately. I often ask them like what's your definition of God? How do you see him? Do you see him as being like a human? He have human construct. He think like a human, and
Yeah.
most people can't really give me no a good enough broad enough definition of when you think about God. How do you see him being? Because like you say they're stuck in that box. Like
Yes.
because I've had I had experiences with people like no, oh we're black, so we had our run-ins with with white people, and
Yeah.
it was like one day I was after after experiencing my dad, I began like to kind of work through that. I seen a video and it was about a guy, it was a white guy, and he was saying he went to the other side and they asked him was he a racist, and he said no, I hate racists, and the spirit asked him, so what makes you different? If you're hating what you hate, so aren't you doing the same thing? And I thought about it, I was like, well, because I had a lot of, I lived in Florida, so I had a lot of run-ins with like racist cops and stuff. And during that time, I felt like that's all that would happen to me,
Yes.
or white people had it in for me. And so I began to experience those things. And so when I sat there and asked myself, I said, I do not like racist people. But if I hate them as much as they hate me, what makes me different? I'm doing exactly what I'm mad at them about. And it didn't make sense to me anymore. And once I got that understanding, I began to talk to family members about that. That was like, no, you're crazy. White people this, white people like, but if
Yeah.
God made everybody, what makes them different? You know what I'm saying? So, but I understand people couldn't understand it from that way. And that prompted me to the question was, how do you see God? What's your image of God? Do you see him as this man with a beard in the sky, or do you see him as so big and unable to understand fully that your idea, your understanding is not his idea and understanding.
Mm.
If just like he loves the person who's going through life, living the best life, he loves Hitler just as much. Now
Fact.
everyone people we all have choices and consequences while we're here, but he loves us all the same. And if he says he is love, and well, he never said God has never said or shown his love to stop. So
Yeah.
why would it stop? Because you in this life you made a bad decision, or you
Yeah.
just had a bad experience on here, or what you see as a bad experience.
Yes.
So that's something I would for anyone to look into. I just evaluate yourself. Like, what's your depiction, what's your image, and what's your understanding of what you as you as a person know who God is.
Yeah. Yeah. And where did it come from?
Yes. Where did it come from? Who
Yeah,
taught you this?
where did it come from, right? Because that's it. Just okay, you have an understanding where. How did you get there? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we don't question ourselves as to why do we believe the things we believe? You know,
Yeah.
yeah, why do we believe the things we believe? And something I always like to share with people, and I remember the first time that I don't know, it was like so long ago when that revelation came to me, and it was like my life was never the same after that. It was hearing spirit say to me that nothing you can do will make me love you any more or any less.
Wow.
And it was like, what? Because I was like one of those do everything the Bible says because I love God so much. I just want to make God, I want to be the favorite child. I'm like, well, I wasn't the favorite of my parents, so I gotta be somebody's favorite, be God's favorite. And it was like my desire was to be like, I wanted to have that feeling like if most I had to look over everybody in the world, I would have that special little place, right? In the
Mhm.
in the heart of Most High. And it was because of having that experience of not as much as I did everything right and whatever, I just never felt like I was enough for my own parents. So that in there fueled a desire for me to at least God could see me since God made me, and maybe I would be God's favorite. So I'm just going to do everything and see what. So you learn in life, if you have parents that only reward you when you do good,
Mhm.
and in your mind it's like, well, I just have to do and that builds like a perfectionist thing, and it goes so deep, and so you're always doing things to be able to do it right so that you could
Mhm.
be loved.
Yeah.
And so when spirit said to me, Yandia, nothing you do can ever make me love you more or less, it was like, what? Like before you even manifested to be able to even do the
Mhm.
amount that I love you, I already loved you. And so you can't do anything to make that love more because it's at its max.
Yeah.
And nothing you do could ever make it come lower. The freedom and liberation I felt knowing that I cannot do anything for
Hmm.
God to love me more, and I cannot do anything for God to love me less.
Hmm.
It just freed me up to just be who I am.
Yes. Oh my God. It feels so freaking good. It does.
And I am just a person that loves God.
Hmm.
And someone else is free to not be that. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying? And it does not, and God will not love that person more than me or less than me.
Hmm.
And I know this, right? So
Hmm.
it's like, I just wish everyone could understand
Yes. Yes.
that, and then they will be free to be who they are.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Just be
Hmm.
free, not because of you want to reward. Or the worst thing is, people are doing it because they're afraid to go to hell,
Yes, man. That's I. So I
or
that
they're
that
doing
was
it
me.
because they want to go to heaven.
Yeah.
They're both
That.
the same. Want to go
Mhm.
to heaven, afraid to go to hell is the same, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The motivation, it's still fear. I'm
Hmm.
afraid to suffer. I'm afraid to miss out. Fear cannot be your motivation in love. Perfect
Hmm.
love casts out all fear,
Yes.
right?
Yes. You're
So
right.
tell me, brother, tell me.
But yeah, man, I grew up because I grew up in church. My mom's a preacher. My stepfather, before he passed, he was a preacher. My grandma was a preacher. Apparently, my mom said I was born in church. You know, she kicked me out of church. So all those me growing up in church and common sense understanding. I'm the devil to everybody in the family, right? No, apart from my mom, which is it took it took it took me being a lot easier and just coming down and so what I ended up doing, I showed her the same clip I saw from Reverend Ike. And so when I spoke to her, I said, "Hey, mom, you love me. You know everything you taught me. You taught me because you love me, and if you showed me everything that you showed me based on love and because you felt it was right, that's the
Yeah,
only thing I'm doing. So I'm just asking you to listen." I said, "Listen to it 3 times. That way you can take it, listen, and understand it." So I said, "Listen to it, and if it's something that you feel that you can relate to, explore it. If it's not, you just seen something that you just scroll by again. That's it."
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I think no, I don't know, maybe me breaking it down like that. She actually watched it, and when she called me, she had it wasn't a lot, but it was that peak of light coming through that she's open to learning more. So and I began to find out things about mom that I didn't even know about, like how she felt about herself, which was low. But yeah, but growing up in church and this type of understanding, oh, my uncle don't call me so many devils. I don't believe in God. I never said that.
Yeah,
But yes,
yeah,
I'm the person that is gonna lead everyone to hell, apparently. So,
yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and that's just what it is. You remember, like, they call if they're gonna say if they're gonna say that the person who talked about love and loving God
Hmm.
more than anybody else, if they're gonna say that he was like the devil,
Hmm.
how much more would they say, about us, right?
Hmm.
So it just I realize, like, just you can't take offense. It's sometimes difficult, I have to say, because you're like, bro, the video that you watched of me, that interview, that Andy interview, I had someone come on there and say, I can't listen to this girl because no, you can't, the person said, like, you can't say God. I didn't hear you say God. You can't, from the time you can't say God, I'm stopping this video. And they said, you can't say God. God is love, and Jesus is this, and I'll say it for you. And I was thinking, and my husband was like, you don't say God? He's like, I swear all you say is God. And I was saying, dude, what video are they watching? But this man actually watched the video and said I wasn't saying God. And so that was enough for him to stop the video and not watch anymore. And then another man came on and said, same video, same one you saw. Another
Hmm.
man came on and said, I had to stop this video. As soon as I hear someone say God, I know it's this, 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 that. And I'm like, how could on the same video, one man stop watching it because I didn't say God, and another man stop watching it because I said God. So, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
down to it, like people will hear what they want to hear.
Yes.
If a person doesn't want to hear the message, they will find something. Oh, oh, she didn't say it. So what you want to call that? It says deaf ears, right? And people have the right, not sometimes what they won't hear today, life will bring them along as life does, and
Yeah,
they'll be ready to hear it at another time.
definitely.
What I'm saying, it will come. And sometimes the message is not gonna come from you. You're not gonna be the messenger. You may say the message, someone else will hear it, and
Hmm.
person will listen to the message through another messenger.
Yes.
So, you just don't stop shining. Don't stop being who you are. I love that you have the guidance and all of that stuff. And people they won't get it, right? Some people may look and be like, well, if you really were spiritual, why would you be doing this and that? Like,
Yes.
okay, oh, do you wear makeup? I mean, oh, you have jewelry on, you have tattoos, right? I'm tatted. You have like people have their stuff to say because they need to find something wrong with you so that they could disqualify your message. And you cannot take it personal because that is, remember we talked about the mirrors?
Hmm.
That is in them. That is something within their own selves. It's like they're stilling and shutting off the still small voice within themselves.
Yes.
So when
Definitely.
they hear somebody yelling on the outside, what they've been trying to deafen on the inside, all they could do is find a fault with why they can't listen to the message on the
Yes.
outside. It has nothing to
Yes.
do with you. It has nothing to do with me. Right. And so I would say, like, keep going, just keep loving, be present. You see the power of being present, the power
Yes.
of being yourself in somebody else, and then love, and then just keep loving. You have shared so much with us today. Guys, if you're watching and you have a question, please put it in the chat so I could ask you, so I could ask him. Sylvia said it is exhausting. I'm not sure what part of the conversation she made that before I wasn't looking at my phone at the comment section, but she says it is exhausting. I think I do remember when I saw something else coming in, but I can't remember the part of it now. But um guys, if you have any questions for Jeremy, please put it in the chat so I could ask him before we log off today. Jeremy, do you have any questions for me? I know before we were talking about all this stuff. Do you have any questions? Do you have anything else you want to share? Like, please
Mhm.
take the time. It's my platform, but it's your platform. It's our platform today, right? So, anything else that you have.
I would just like to say, I guess everyone like just to be open to know, to learn, to feel, to embrace. No, take don't take life so seriously. Um, and a lot of times the problems you have that you feel like it's just, oh my God, this is it. I can't, this is end of life. Think about somebody over in Ukraine or somewhere else who's living in the desert. Would you rather switch your problems with someone else? Or is your problems enough? Like, you know what? I can deal with this. I
It's
can't
your
deal with that.
problem.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so then as you start looking at like, it's not, maybe my problem isn't that big. Maybe I can just work through
exactly.
this.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
I always, that's a good help. I mean, some people say it's not the best way, but I'm like, it's being realistic.
yes.
There's someone in the life right now who has it easier.
Hmm.
There's someone in life right now who has it harder. And the thing about it is like some people have really no problem going on a little bit of food. It's actually natural for them. They don't have
Hmm.
they're not suffering. You get what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Because they're used to eating proper proportions, right?
Hmm.
We're over here and our amounts of food that we eat is like so big, so much. So you have someone who would be like, oh man, because I'm not making enough money, I'm only being able to eat like 2 meals a day,
Hmm.
and they're like, man, this is hard. Woe unto me, right? And it's like, if you take in, okay, for you, that might be hard. There's someone else in the world that has less than what you have, and it's not even hard for them. Like sometimes the reason your situation is hard is because of your conditioning.
Hmm.
Do you get what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes. Yes.
Is I'm not even telling you like learn how to suffer. I'm telling you you may have been conditioned in a certain way that has you like not realizing that you're actually living in a in an abundance that you don't even realize. Like some
Yes.
people be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to drive this stupid car." You have a car.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like you
Yes.
have a car. Some people cannot even have cars, even if they have
Hmm.
the money. Maybe they have, you know what I mean, other issues like their insurance would be too high and so they can't afford it. Like there's so many ways that people just put on this thing like I'm really suffering here. And
Hmm.
the thing about it is like you can look at it like, well, someone else in the world somewhere, even right, my neighbor may have it worse than me. Again,
Hmm.
it's bringing yourself to being in the present and being thankful for what you do have.
Yes.
Because if what you have now had to be taken away from you, you would want it back.
Yes.
So give thanks for whatever little you have, give thanks for it, and figure out how, if you need more, to attain more or reassess. Have I been conditioned to have an amount that's even more than I should have?
Hmm.
Am I living above my means? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, do that assessment because a lot of times we're crying over not having more when the more we want is literally not even necessary for us to live like full, full lives. So,
Hmm.
that's it's all of that. And we're like, why wouldn't God give me and why whatever? It's because why? You know what I'm saying? It's just like more, 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 more. To what end? To what end?
Yeah, and I like to like not talk to people. I like to give them like the example of like growing up in the black community. It's like we always talk like don't trust anyone. Life is the people cops. Everyone is always out to get you because of our
Yeah,
skin color. Now
yeah,
we see stuff. We see what the news shows us. We do, but apart from the few encounters I had in Florida, majority of times in Georgia, when I'm stopped by a white cop, I get the best treatment. I'm surprised every time, but I'm happy and I'm excited. Or to go around life and saying, "Don't trust anybody, don't trust anyone." You know
yeah,
how much you have to put on yourself to make up in
yeah.
your mind, say, "I can't
Yes.
trust anybody." You know how frustrating and how you have to put so much attention where
Yes.
like you can't even live. So just
Yes.
relax, be easy on yourself sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. It's um it's also a thing, right? When
Hmm.
you focus, and I'm not saying that, you know, it's not it's not real out here, like with things. I'm saying I remember, and I won't name names, but I don't recall experiencing any like prejudice, right?
Hmm.
Until I got around people who that's all they spoke about.
Yes.
And all of a sudden I was like, holy crow, that really is happening.
Hmm.
I was unaware. And then on the flip side, they were always experiencing like negative white people who
Hmm.
wouldn't do anything for them. And then when they're around me, it was like, no, that person's not going to do that. And then it's like, oh, yeah, look, they're doing that. Like throwing in free food for me, like doing like things that they're like, they'd never get that. And someone is going to stop and they'll say, like, oh, maybe it's because you're light skinned. Maybe it's because whatever. But no, because you know what?
Yeah.
And then what does that tell you? That it still comes down to wanting to still believe that every person is just negative,
Hmm.
like and that's so wrong because I have experienced, and I'm gonna say it, in my life I've experienced more racism. I don't like the word racism because it means that they're holding, kind of like economically making life hard for you, so I don't
Hmm.
even racism.
Yeah.
But let's just say discrimination, right? I've
Hmm.
experienced more discrimination at the hands of melanated people,
Yes, definitely.
which is weird to me because I'm like, we're all melanated, right? So if someone wants to, when people want to talk about it, I'm like, well, there is, if within our own community, there's this colorism within our own community,
Hmm.
have darker skinned girls that may not like lighter skinned girls and darker skinned guys that may not like lighter skinned guys and vice versa. Like, if this issue is existing in our own community, why are you going to hate if it exists on a bigger scale? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, makes
Like,
sense.
if a really lighter skinned person, which we would call a white person, is going to hate on a melanated person of any skin tone, can you really be upset if you are in the melanated community and you're hating on a person who's lighter than you also? So I think before we could look outside and want people
Mhm.
outside to stop that behavior, we have to stop that ish right here
Yeah, within our
because
own
it's
house.
existing right here.
That's that self hate that we
Self-hate.
get that we
Yes.
because to grow up and believe that you are less than because someone
Yeah.
else said you was less than,
Exactly.
you're just
Exactly.
perpetuating that self hate.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Hmm
I don't have, I mean, I know it exists. I have seen it for myself. Even growing up, traveling with my parents and stuff, I've seen, my stepdad being a melanated man. I've seen him. Like, we've passed through certain states in the US where we could not stop. This is when I was a little, it was like, do what? Y'all need a hotel, a motel? You're gonna keep your eyes open and drive past
Yeah.
here. Do not lose gas in this city.
hmm
Drive. So I experienced that. I know that I mean, we've gone into restaurants and had people just get up and move to the other side of the restaurant just because our family was sitting there. Like, I've experienced that sort of stuff, waiting forever, not getting service, being looked over, so I'm not saying I don't think it's real, but I cannot be concerned about stopping something outside of my culture that exists within my own culture.
Yes.
It's like you have to fix it within yourself first before you expect anyone outside to have any change. So
Yeah,
I
but
think first we have to realize within our own selves that my skin color doesn't make me better or less within our own selves.
mhm.
And once you have that within your own self, whether or not you're beside a person who's darker or lighter, you're not going to have that thought. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to look at them like, oh, you're going to get the job because you're from the time you being dream manifestation specialist, from the
Oh wow.
time you have put into your mind that because of my skin color, I will not get this job, don't even bother go.
Yes.
Even bother because all you're going to be doing is uh having a self-fulfilled prophecy. You get what I'm saying? Because you've already set that up. You've already said to the earth, to the universe, to God. You've already said this is going to be the outcome. I'm going for this job and I'm not going to get the job because of my skin color. There's a scripture that says, whoever asks for something, if you have any doubt, don't even bother ask.
Facts.
So if you're going for your job and you have doubt you're going to get it because of your skin color, why are you even praying about it?
That is such yes,
Why
yeah.
are you even praying about it? Don't bother. So we cancel out ourselves before we even begin. So
Mhm.
it starts all, in the thoughts. I could care less about the racism that's happening outside of us because it's like hypocrisy to me to want a white person to accept you because of your skin color, and you can't accept yourself, nor can you accept another melanated person
Yes.
who's just a little bit lighter or darker than you. That's
Yes.
nonsense. So I just don't even care for the conversation because it's
Yes.
foolish to me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's foolishness. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nuts. Yeah. We want people out there to solve a problem that we haven't solved for ourselves. What foolishness is this?
Facts.
Nuts. So that went there, bro. Remember I told you this place, but it still comes back to love.
Yes.
Love yourself. Love the skin that you're in.
I was just telling someone the other day that because I would say like the more as I get into this, this understanding and awakening and knowing who I am and the spirituality, um, apparently I've become some sort of a therapist. So, I guess like because when someone asks me a question, I try to get them to walk around it and see it from more than just their perspective. And I know it's like when you, not everyone, but when you, because it's still a choice. Because everyone, yeah, 'cause I remember this girl, she was asking me a question, And I said, now I asked her, I said, do you really want me to answer this? I'm like, because when I answer the question, it's gonna change you when I ask this question. She's like, just ask me. I said, you've been going to church for how long? She said, no, years and years I've been going to church. I say, no, so when you go to learn about Jesus, and to be like Jesus, right? She said, yes. I said, so why is it so hard for you to just you read the life of Jesus, you know he did. Why is it so hard to just be that way? Because what she was asking me about was a situation with a girl and how she should respond. And of course, she wanted to, like, beat that, slap that. And when I responded to her, I'm like, well, you said you were Christian. You said, you follow Christ. So what would Jesus do in that situation? So be that way. She looked
Yeah.
at me and said, I just don't want to do that. So, but she had that thought, like, she's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, this just made sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. 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 So again, it's like, you know, what are you really gonna believe?
mm,
The same Jesus, let's say, or I say Yeshua, who
mm,
would say, let the person without sin cast the first stone,
mm.
or so-called turn the other cheek, is the same one who went in and flipped over all the tables.
Yeah, he was
You
a
see what I'm
heathen.
saying? Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like, I always say, be angry and sin not. You can be
yes,
angry. Just make sure that whatever you're doing in your actions, it's still in alignment with love. You get what I'm saying? And that's when I say, like, people try to fit God into their idea of love. It's like, no, learn
yeah,
what God is and fit love into the idea of God,
that,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Fit love into your idea, into not your idea, but the idea of God. See, God is revealed through all of nature, right?
right,
All of
yes,
nature. God is revealed through all of nature. God is revealed through the word, right? And when I say the word, I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm talking about like the
yes,
living word, the living word. The what do you want to say? The Ruach HaKodesh, or the Holy Spirit, or divine guidance within. Doesn't matter to me, right? But we have a question. I want to get to a question here for
yeah.
you. Dwayne says, what's your favorite way to share love now?
Hmm. My favorite way to thanks for the question, by the way, Dwayne. My favorite way to share love is to honestly be the example. Be
Mm,
able to show someone, like, even when I'm going through a challenging, or what might be seen as a tough time, they can see me and be like, and the way he handled it, maybe not in that time, they might not take it right then, but like, you know what? If he can handle that, it will still have a smile on his face. Maybe stuff ain't so bad. Like,
yeah.
for example, right there, a little after I lost my dad, I was at work and my car messed up. The week was not, I had to get my car towed. It's
Mm,
irritating. No, it's irritating. So I was like, bro, man, what happened, man? I'd be so messed up. My car messed up, man. Like, people like, how you still allowed to smile? I'm like, it'll get fixed. And if it don't, I have to, all I can
mm.
do is what I can do. And what
Yes.
I can't do, I can't do. And until I
Yeah.
can do it.
Yes.
So I can't
Yeah.
get so bent out of shape at things that happen. What can I learn from this? If anything, because I know no matter what,
Yeah.
everything works out for my good. In some way, it's gonna work. So, but to answer your question, because I get to go on a tangent, but but to answer your question, my favorite way to share love is to be the love that I want to share.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. Be the love that you want to share. Yeah. Love is a being word.
Yeah.
More than a doing, it's a being. You got to be it, and just by being it, your actions will come naturally,
It
right?
was it was something I heard you. I think I heard it in either one of your videos or in the NDE story.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, respond in love, and I was like, when I heard you say, I was like, respond in love. I was like, and it made me think, like, okay, she's right, because when we respond or we do stuff, we're doing it out of some type of love for ourselves. We do things because we know we think it'll benefit us, or or even we have friends. We usually handle situations in such a way because we care about that person, which is responding in love. So I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
And so someone would ask me about, like, a certain situation, like, if I know something, should I tell this person or should I not? I'm like, well, if it's bothering you, then you should, because you love them, because you want to do it out of care and concern for your friends, so you should do it.
Yeah.
Respond in
Yeah.
love. So yeah,
Yes. Yes.
so I want to
Yes.
say
I'm
thank you
so
for that. So
you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's see. So Dwayne says, love the tangents. Great answer.
Thank you.
And Sylvia said, thank you for sharing your story. Patricia said, thanks, bro, for sharing your awakening to self-love.
Thank you. Thank you all
And
for listening, tuning in.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, so do you have any questions for me before we head out? Is there anything that you have for me? I know before you said that you had a question or something
Yes.
that you
Well, I did hear you say you're a dream
oh
specialist.
manifestation, yeah.
Okay, I definitely gotta get with you, probably off because that I got to the floor. I want to the floor, and it's crazy that for me to hear you say that. Like yesterday, I was sitting here like, man, I'm ready to elevate my career. I'm ready to go to the next level. I'm ready to, to see myself or how I see myself and be the
Yeah,
person that I see myself. So I started this thing where I seen it somewhere. Like I'm gonna try and work. The only thing can come from is good. So I started this thing called just 21 days of pure positivity and
yes,
affirming. So
yeah,
any negative thoughts is just gonna go neutral, So
yeah,
it's almost automatic to me today because today I almost had one, and then right before I had it, it's like prove it to yourself, and it just brought me back up. So and
yeah,
then
yes,
it's feeling good so far. It's great.
yeah,
And just about your past life regression. You say you had the you understood that your past life you were a guy. So I guess that's something I would want to let's learn about because personally I feel like it's my first time on earth because just how I mean how because how I deal with situations sometimes and I got this understanding because one day my mom told me she had a miscarriage she told me last year honestly I'm 32 so she told
yeah,
me this I
yeah.
don't know why but it may for some reason it hit me like okay, well, who am I? I know she had never told me this whole life she had a miscarriage for me, and to that day, I don't know why. This time she told me, but when it hit me, and I started, and I don't know why, I just felt like something. Okay, this is something you need to know, and it prompted me to go explore that. So I began to research. I told somebody like, my mom just told me she had a miscarriage for me. It's like, oh, you're a rainbow baby. I'm like, what the heck is a rainbow baby? So I began to explore that, and then as what I learned, I don't know how what's what, but I mean, because I didn't find a lot of information just yet. So when I learned that, that kind of led me to believe like this might be your first time here because it's certain things just that I see happen that sometimes just don't make sense to me. I'm like, but I feel like okay, where I'm here, everyone doing so I just be in the flow with what is here. But it just like I like for the love of me, I've had like we all had people do stuff to us,
Yeah.
but I could never hold on to hate so long to where like I want to hurt this
Mhm.
person. Like man, get over it. So just know
Yeah.
to hear you going back and say you had a past life regression. I want to know how was that? How was the feeling of you I guess going your consciousness changing and then you having that awareness where you at, how did it feel? What did you experience? What was
Yeah.
your first question? The first thing
Yeah.
when you realize that you're seeing this and experiencing this, what was your first thought? Like, is this really like I want to know how was it, man? How was it?
I have, yeah, um I have had several. I
Mm,
can't even I've had several past life regressions. Um Ever since I was little, right? I
right,
have remembered past lives. So this is before I knew. I'm 42 years old right now, and I'm from a little island in the Caribbean.
right.
So no one talks about this stuff. But ever since I was little, I had, memories of certain things. I knew certain things. I knew certain things that I was gonna do. So I just had this stuff. And then it wasn't until I think when they started coming really, really like really intense was maybe like 2000 and I want to say uh 15 or 16. I
Mhm,
started no 2011 or 12 is where I had my first, like while I was just awake and aware, and I had my first experience where I just literally just went back in time and I experienced my life in, it wasn't like many days, it was like a certain event that I
mhm,
experienced. And and so I guess you could say it wasn't like necessarily like days, but it was like I saw how I was living, and then boom, it went to an event. And so I saw that I had, it's a whole big thing, but I saw who was around me, I saw what I was doing, I saw the place that I was in, like the country, and then I saw how everything got destroyed, right?
Wow.
I saw the people come in, I saw them kill certain people around. It was very terrible. And I know that that's something that actually happened in real life. I've had years after, I've had people come in and be like, what you're describing sounds like the something, something, something of whatever, whatever. You should look that up. And I'm like, what? And then I go check it up and I'm like, what the hell? Right. So I don't really want to talk about it because that was my first experience, but it actually is, well, let me say it can very well be a significant historical event that has been
Mhm.
hidden, that has
Oh
been,
wow.
yes, that has been definitely covered up. Okay, there's certain things that have happened in history that in order to implement the new things that are being done, they had to hide that certain things were done. And and it was very detailed, the whole experience. I went from that event and I came back into time seeing all the different things that were being done to cover up stuff. So I have a great deal of understanding of how things happened. And just like spirit will just bring the right people in my path and then give it to me like, you should share this with this person. And I would, and then that person will have more information. So for whatever reason now, I'm sharing it, with you. You're asking, it might be the time to kind of put that out there. You never know who would watch and be like, okay,
Yeah.
that's a confirmation of some stuff that I thought. But that was my first one that opened me up to, um, okay, that was not just a dream. I saw information. Like I experienced, like I have facts. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like, I wonder. It was like, nah, I knew names. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is facts. Like, there's no way I could just experience past. I mean, we're talking about like thousands of years ago. There's no way I could experience that and know and then come up to the future time. And then I think since that experience, I kind of just I couldn't deny it. I was still, because I had a lot of a lot of my Christian stuff in me was like, but I don't know about past lives. I don't know about reincarnation. You know what I mean? It was like I couldn't deny what spirit
Yeah.
was showing me about what had happened in this earth. And then so it just kept going, right? I got an experience where I had another experience where just not anything, just on my own. I have an experience where I'm a man and I'm like a tribe leader and I'm doing certain things and I see like I'm for some reason I'm focusing on my hands and I could see I have certain markings on my hands and I know certain things about these markings and I know that I need to put these markings on my hand again for whatever reason in this
Mhm.
life, mostly because people who I have to connect with from that life in
Mhm.
this life will see the markings and know that I'm the same person. So I was like, okay, I went ahead and it's so funny because Dwayne, who's on here, is actually
Mhm.
this story.
Oh
It's
wow.
hilarious, yes, because I had drawn out the markings that I had seen, and I said to him, I'm like, bro, like this is what was on my hand, whatever, whatever, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the library to see if I could get some book because I know this is some ancient shit. Gotta figure out what this is. And I went to the library, got a book. There was only one book on the whole shelf where they directed me to that had like ancient what do you call it, from like ancient talismans, all the ancient stuff, right? Hieroglyphs and all these things, and there was only one book on the shelf in that area, and I was like, well, this is the only book that's here. I have no choice, I'll just take it. Do you know how difficult it is to have a shelf in a library and there only be one book on it?
Wow.
So whether
It's,
they had like someone cleared it out and just left that book, but I was
yeah.
like, how is this possible? I'm a library girl. Like there's no way. I've never seen this in my whole life. So I was like, okay, took the one book. I didn't even open it because I'm like, I have to take this book. It's the only book. So I went home and Dwayne was there for this.
Mhm.
I opened up, I was like, okay, well, I know what it means from the experience. I know what the mark means. So I'm going to open up. So I just opened up the book. First place I opened the book to was exactly the mark.
Wow.
Exactly. I had drawn out exactly what I said it meant from my past life. And so I know a lot of people want to say like they don't believe in it or whatever, but I would be an I could understand other people not believing it, but for me, if I don't believe in it, I have to give to God an account
Hmm.
as to how could I have all of these um evidences in my personal life and not believe. And I have gone out and random people will just grab my hand. I know this. They'll start touching my hand. Where do I know this from? And I'm like, okay, so you're one.
Wow.
Like, so I just, yeah. And people have said like he's writing facts in the he's writing facts. Yeah. So I know you know, trust me, like again, if all the things that Yeshua did were written down
Yeah.
in the to be recorded, there would not be
I'm,
enough books,
yeah, I'm
enough
pretty
volumes
sure.
of books. Well, yeah, yeah. So, it's just I believe with all my heart that many of us have been here before. I've had people who've come to do past life regressions with me because I do like hypnosis and so on just to bring people back. And I think a lot of people, some of them don't remember anything, but then when they get in there, they have full remembrances. For whatever reason, it's
Hmm.
just, and I'm
That's
sure
not
that
wrong.
I'm sure there's some people who maybe they've never come, maybe, but I've never experienced that. I've
Hmm.
experienced people who haven't incarnated on this earth, but they've incarnated other places. And there are other places. This is not the
Hmm.
place that sustains life, whether it's in another dimension or whatever the case may be. We
Did you
do, we change forms, you know
did
what
you
I mean?
get a chance to experience like I guess another place that you could possibly incarnate when you came out of your body?
Well, I wouldn't know. Yes, the answer is yes, but
Oh wow.
I wouldn't know. It's nothing like to say like Mars or anything like that. Nah, the names wouldn't even, yeah, it wouldn't even fit. So we are, I say like we are infinite beings and we are one with source. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Through our existence, Most High gets to experience and be all knowing. Because think of it, if you want to go to the Bible way, Adam is there, God breathes into Adam, and all of a sudden, Adam becomes a living being. Well, how? What makes Adam alive? It's the breath
Hmm.
of God in Adam. And when God receives God's breath back to God's self, that will be the awareness of Adam going back to God. Because when somebody becomes alive, it's that they become conscious.
Hmm.
You see what I mean? They get
Right.
the ability to reason, to think, you know what I'm saying? To be alive,
Yes.
right? And so um there's so many ways that I know that this is how um Most High is all knowing because Most High is in all of us knowing all because every single thing that we experience, Most High is experiencing it.
Wow.
Do you
That's
see what I'm saying?
hmm
Yeah, Most High's experience. We are the ones who are experiencing time.
hmm
There is no time in eternity. So if you think of it this way, where Most High is, let's just use that word, although Most High is.
hmm
So if Most High is outside of space and time, that means from the very first person to ever incarnate to the very last person who will ever incarnate,
hmm
all of their experiences are existing all at once. It doesn't matter if they've had a billion lives or just one life.
hmm
Everything exists all in the now and in the present, right? Which means that in eternity, Most High
hmm
just knows everything. Most High just is all knowing because everything that will ever happen has already happened. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything that will ever happen has already happened in eternity. It's done. It is finished. We are just here in the slow-mo. like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're gathering the information, but the information's already gathered. Put it this way, good example, and this is the last thing. You know, you go to watch a movie. You've never seen the movie yet.
Right.
So while you're sitting down there, you're like, ooh, trailers are coming on, right? The movie's about to start. The person who wrote the movie already knows the movie from beginning to end. All the actors in the movie already knows how everything goes down. But you, being the person who's just going to be observing it for seemingly the first time, everything, every frame is so new to you. But those who are outside of that theater experience, it's done. It's already finished. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
First day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day. It's finished. They're in rest mode. They're in Sabbath, bro. They're in Sabbath.
Yeah.
We're in here in time, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. They're in Sabbath. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can and you can decide to, and this is what I'm saying, like when you come to know, you can just accept that I am here, I am now experiencing this, and I will gather as much information from my personality in this realm as I possibly can. Everything, like all the contrasts. You know what? Suffering isn't nice. This is nice. Love is nice. This is, you know what I mean? You think of all of your experiences, just gather it, because as we expand, as light continues to expand and create other worlds and better things, it's all of the information that we've gathered that's used to create. You see what I'm saying? It's everything that we've gathered, right?
Yeah.
So it's really a beautiful thing. There's so many different ways to experience life. The more awake you are, so to speak, the more you realize how much of a deliberate, I guess, how deliberate you could be with your manifestations, and how important it is that you are conscious with what you create and with what you manifest, because it plays a part not just in this moment, but what will happen. You know, like think of it like a ripple effect. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So everything is important. This podcast right now, this platform, who knows who'll ever end up listening to it. But like we said, it could just be one person who listens and gets something from your story or from what we're sharing, and it makes a huge splash that ripples, you know, and assist them in their life, and other people who they would share, you know, who they would share with.
So I got one more question, then, but I know we got to wrap it up.
Okay.
But you can just give me like a yes or no, and then I'm definitely gonna try to hit you back so we can go deeper into it. So
okay.
Aliens, yes or no?
What do you consider an alien?
Non-human.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. Oh, definitely. 100%.
The most amazing thing, like my mom, like she's a preacher, but she told me, telling me about this story about when she was driving, she encountered a spaceship. And I was like, were you sleepy or something? Like, no. Then my oldest brother, they both saw it, and it made me question, like, well, if you saw this, wouldn't that make you question everything? She told me, she's out her own mouth, she just blocked it out, But I asked her, I said, do you remember everything, how that day was in detail? She said, yeah. So I'm going to try to get her recorded, but I definitely want to deep dive into that conversation with you anytime you feel free. So
yeah. No, definitely. I mean, yeah. Yeah. We'll have a deep dive. But and whether people would say that, demons and this and that or whatever, it's like, there's good angels, right? Angels, there's bad ones, there's so much of creation. And there's so much of creation. We are at a place where we are literally like the least advanced of all of human civilization. Yes, we are. There has been, oh man, we are the least that we right now with what we have, least advanced.
Wow.
So of human civilization. So just imagine in all the times before how far we got as humans. Now, yes, of course, because we were, getting help more openly from other sources or however people want to call it, but even those sources have an origin, right?
Mhm.
So it's deep, bro. It's deep. It's deep, 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 deep
Yes,
dive.
I want to get into it, but my phone been
Yeah.
blowing up right now because they're like, "Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Come on, we gotta get to that."
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this. Everyone who watched, who chimed in, who said something, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if I can leave y'all with anything, what I like to say is, resonate high, vibe high, and stay high.
Say
However
hi.
you gotta get there, but stay high. So.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, it was a pleasure having you on, Jeremy, aka Jbaby. Because if people look you up, that's what they're gonna have to check up,
Yes,
right?
Jay.
So yeah, so it was a pleasure having you on. I'm sure everybody, I see all love in the comments. So thank you for everybody who stayed with us and who participated in the chat and who sent their love and their questions. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I look forward to, we might have to do a part two. You never know,
Hey,
right?
I'm down. I'm down. Just
You're
let me know
down.
when, where. I'm down.
Yes, good, good. So, thank you again for tuning in to Love Story. I see the chat is going. Yes, someone said this is great. Ashe fam, love it. Okay, so good. So, we will see you again next Sunday for another love story. Remember, if you want to join, just send me an email at lovestory4 FOR, lovestory4 Yandea at gmail.com. Okay. So I will see you guys next Sunday at 7:30. Thanks again, Jeremy.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night, everyone.
You as well.
Okay.